So, hello everyone. I will make a rather short presentation of the certification of road marking materials, road marking products in France. And let's start with Asca. Asca is the Association for the Certification and Qualification of Road Equipment. It's a non-profit association created when I was young in 1992. We are small, we are only 6 permanent people, but we work hard to evaluate and certify road equipment in France. The originality of Asca is that we are a collegiate structure. We bring together the different actors for equipment. So we have 3 colleges. The first one is the College of Product Suppliers, so road equipment manufacturers. The second one is the College of Users and Specifiers of Products, so essentially road managers. And the third college, the College C, is the College of Technical Bodies, so the testing and inspection labs, which make sure that products are good and that they are manufactured correctly. We are more or less the reference body for the certification of road equipment in France. We deliver CE certificates for road equipment. We also are accredited by COFRAC, which is the French Committee for Accreditation. And we also are mandated by AFNOR, so it's the French body for standardization for the NF mark, which is the national quality mark. As most of notified bodies, we are accredited, so we have to fulfill specific requirements in terms of independence. We have to be financially autonomous, that we have to be strong enough not to depend from one company or not to depend from one product. We also are audited and checked concerning impartiality. We have to welcome any company from any country in France, in Europe, or in the world in the same manner. As we have the full documentation of products, we also are submitted to specific requirements in terms of confidentiality. So we have contracts which impose a lot of obligations to us and which also impose some obligations to our customers, the manufacturers. And finally, we also are supposed to be competent. So we are part of the standardization process in France and in Europe. And we are very close to road equipment as we are specialists in that business. So what is the certification? I used to work in the industry, so I was aware of certification, but I was, in my mind, certification was more, let's say, an administrative process. It was a paper and it was not really technical. Actually, certification is really a technical process, is really close to the products. And it consists for the notified body to give the written assurance that a product is conform to standards and to requirements defined in certification rules. So how does it work? We have different requirements. That's what you have on the left of the slide in blue. So there are different steps. So initial type testing, to get a certification on a product, you have to perform initial type testing by accredited lab. So for road marking products, we measure the product application on site, including drying time. We also make sure that the product can be applied in a repeatable manner. So we measure also the repeatability of application rates of the dosage of products on the road. We measure the performances of road markings for sure. We also take a sample of the product on site, so just under the tank of the road marking equipment. And once we have this sample, we try to analyze it in the best manner. So we have a lot of experience in chemical chemistry, and so in mineral chemistry, sorry. And so we apply the analysis to be sure of what the product is made of. Once we have the knowledge of the product and once we know that it can be applied in a robust manner, we also test the storage ability to make sure that the product can be used during a reasonable lifetime. And then we assess the durability of the performances of the road marking materials. That's for the initial type testing. The second step is very important as well. It's the initial inspection of the manufacturing site or of the manufacturing sites. So we make sure that the manufacturer respects the requirements for the factory production control, that it really controls the products, and that the manufacturers really has a good manufacturing process which respects the requirements defined in the standard. With the combination of the initial type testing of the product and the initial inspection of the manufacturing sites, we have to judge if the product is compliant or if the product is not compliant. So whether all the conditions for the initial type testing and the initial inspection of the manufacturing site is required, we can deliver a certification of the product. So that's globally the way it works for a manufacturer to get a certification of a road marking material in France. But that's only the first part of the process. The second part is even more important. It's the annual maintenance of a product certificate. That's also the responsibility of a certification body. So for that, for the road marking materials in France, we combine three types of actions. The first one is the annual inspection of the manufacturing site, so to make sure that the ability of the manufacturer to manufacture the product in compliance with the FPC requirements, the factory production control requirements, is still there. During the inspection made by qualified people, we also take samples of the product, and so at the factory, so the inspector decides on which product to be sampled. And we also, that's a big plus for the market surveillance. We take samples of products during in the diffusion circuit, so in the warehouses of public or private contractors. So with that sampling, we have a good knowledge of the product manufactured and also of the product sold and installed on the roads. So it really leads to an effective market surveillance. So it's not enough for us to have just a certificate for a product if you cannot make sure that the product which is manufactured later on during years is the same as the product tested. So that's the third step of the surveillance. So we have a lot of surveillance testing on the product sampled. So we perform the full chemical analysis of the product. We compare the product manufactured, so the product sampled on the market with its reference that we have in Asca. And with that surveillance, you know that what you install is what was tested on the road trial site in Asca. So it's up to us to make sure that the product remains compliant in terms of chemical composition, and that the manufacturer keeps on controlling, keeps on manufacturing correctly the product. If the surveillance is non-compliant due to the results on the product or due to the inspections on sites, on the manufacturing sites, we take actions against our customers, and we can suspend the certificate, or if it's not possible to come back to the very nature of the product tested on site, we withdraw the certificate. For most of our products, of course, the certificate is renewed because we make sure that the product is still the same as the product tested, and we make sure that the manufacturer still manufactures correctly the product. In road trials, we trust. That's really the philosophy in France. We consider that road trials are very important to evaluate and to select road marking materials. Road marking materials are designed for the marking of roads. That's the reason why we consider that it's very important to do that in real conditions. In France, we have a road trial sites for all road marking materials. I mean paints, hot and cold plastics, preformed tapes. So it's real conditions for application of the product. So you apply the product in June or July. So we control the application conditions. It's also real conditions for the weathering of the products. I mean, we have the effects of weather. It was also already discussed this morning. So if it's hot, if it's cold, if you have sun, if you have rain, snow, winds, hygrometry, a lot of effects, temperature, of course. It's also real conditions for traffic because it's a real road. It's a national road. Which is located 70 kilometers north of Paris. The average annual day traffic is approximately 8,500 vehicles a day, with 17% of heavy goods vehicles. Of course, I was in the business, and I was in the contracting business for road markings. That actually road markings was the product I started my career on. And so, of course, it's not. You can see it's not the real road markings. It's not edge lines or central lines. It's very specific. So it's done according to the EN 1824 European standard. So it's conventional testing, but in real conditions. In France, we also use a new pavement. So most of road marking business is for the renewal, the maintenance of road markings. Here we start from zero, so from unmarked pavement. And the pavement is renewed very often to offer on the same site always the same conditions. With these conventional patterns, they are selected from a system of traffic data collection. So we measure the distribution of traffic on the two traffic lanes of the carriageway, and we know which type of rollover class deals with which type of line. So, for example, on the right you have the 1 million rollover class after 1 year, and on the left you have the for example the 50,000 rollover class. This is a true carriageway road. That means that you can, as a product, road marking product manufacturer, you can apply the products. It's up to the manufacturers to apply the products. So you can apply the products in very safe conditions because we have two carriageways. So we close one carriageway, the traffic is diverted on the other one, and you work in the best conditions in terms of safety. We also have a lot of space to welcome the road marking equipment and the products beside the application site. So once we made sure that the product is applicable and that the application rate is correct, and once we sample the product, we also pay a lot of attention to the measurement of the road materials performances. And we do that in accordance with the EN 1436 standard. So we measure the performances of road markings for the daytime visibility, I mean for example the QD, and the colorimetry, the nighttime visibility, the skid resistance for type 0, type 1 and type 2 markings. We also have specific measurements for alert profile markings. So we make sure that these profile markings stay within a dimensional range between 10 and 16 millimeters. So you have to respect these brackets. So you have to be under 16 and above 10 during the whole life of the profiled road marking. So at the end of the day, we test the dimensional stability of these road markings to make sure that they alert correctly the drivers of the different vehicles, so passenger cars and also heavy good vehicles. All the measurements are performed just after the application of the product, so at the young age, and after a given period of time. So we combined rollovers with time. So after 6 months for temporary road markings, and after one climate cycle for permanent road markings, we can go up to 2 years and 2 million rollovers. And we have acceptance values for products defined in the French technical specifications. We also have to deal with the problem of asbestos in the grooving of existing road markings. So in France, we have so many problems with with dust and asbestos that more and more we have to cover temporarily existing road markings with black masking products. And it's the same as for Batman, so we have to make sure that the quality of the road marking is good enough to be very sure that the product is safe for any user. So we defined, we use the same performance criteria as the one defined in the European project of technical report on the conditions for road marking removal and masking. And we measured, for example, the colorimetry of the road masking material. So here you have the first, let's say, control road marking. And after that, you have the same marking plus the masking. We have to make sure that the colorimetry of the masking is good enough from the start to the end, so from the young age to after 1 year. We have to make sure that the masking of the road has a good skid resistance. So we also measure the skid resistance over time, and we have to make sure that the mask is good. So if you have gust effects, for example, under rain, for example, under specific sunny conditions, it's not good. So we try to measure the glossy effect of the masking. And we try to measure the wear resistance of these products over time. So to make sure that if we use that, we will not create any problem for the users. And it may be as well a consideration for automated vehicles or for the advanced driving assistance systems in the existing vehicles. So that's the reason why we do that. We also try to innovate with, in the same spirit with the contrasted road marking. So you know that more and more road markings are now offered, especially for very white roads, concrete roads with a kind of contrast frame to ensure a better contrast between the road marking and the road surface. So for that, we apply different road markings. So it's not really contrasted road markings as such. It's more a combination of the different elements of the contrasted road marking. So standard road markings and the same material used to do the contrast frame. So the idea is globally the same. So we don't have exactly the same constraints. So we don't risk any ghost effect, but we have to ensure skid resistance, and we have to ensure that the contrast material is strong enough under weather conditions and is strong enough under traffic. We also try to welcome and encourage innovation on this road site. So we welcome new technologies. We also welcome road studs, so raised pavement markers. And that's all for my presentation. And thank you again for this invitation to Hofmann.